welcome. This video is brought to you by Bearskins.Outfitters.net. Bearskins.Outfitters.net is proud to be the sole exclusive U.S. distributor for Hemingway's fly fishing products. If you're looking for Hemingway's fly fishing products in the U.S., Bearskin Outfitters is your place. It's Bearskins.Outfitters.net. Everything you'll see on the video today is available there. Also, please just come by, drop us a line. Our telephone number is there. You can shoot us an email. We'd love to hear from everybody. If you have any questions, comments, leave them at the bottom of the video or give us a call. We love to hear from you. Today we're going to be tying for you an ultra-realistic Hemingway's articulated Mayfly Nymph. As you can see, this is a spot-on match for pretty much any clinger or crawler nymph. In the vise, we're starting off with one of our brand new products. This is an HC Hemingway's 113. It's a 2X strong, 2X short Mayfly, wet fly and nymph hook. Mayfly nymphs, it works great for actually. Caddis, all of the above and anything. They're just absolute top quality hooks. They're competition grade, they're barbless, they're black nickel finish. They're just absolutely dynamite. Really one of the best bangs for your buck out there on today's market. Check them out. You can get a 10-pack as a trial, and they are just all that. On the particular hook, we just have a brass bead that's sized to match. Tungsten brass, it's really your call, whatever beads you like to use. I'm using an 8/0 uni thread. That's just my preference for tying these particular flies. What I'm going to do is start my thread right behind my bead, just take a couple wraps. Then I'm going to not only wrap to the bend of the hook, I'm going to wrap just about 2 wraps past the bend of the hook. And the reason for that is it's going to seat our bodies and tails when we're ready to get those on in just a minute. We're going to be tying in a rib. This is actually one of our tricks that we use when we tie our ultra realistic flies. This is about a 12X piece of mono. What you're going to want to do is go out and find yourself the thinnest spool of mono you can find. You can usually get some pretty thin stuff from your fly shop or even big box stores. You want to use really as fine as you can. What this is going to do is it's actually going to give you a great ribbing material, but you're not going to be able to see it. So it's going to look really realistic when you get it on your fly. And what I did was I just tied that in on the far side of the hook. That's would be the camera side of the hook, or the side of the hook that's away from me. And the reason for that is when you go to wrap it, it's just going to be in the right position for you to wrap it. Now, this is our Hemingway's ultra realistic Mayfly Nymph bodies and tails. It's a small size and it's a black color. They come in small, medium, and large, and a litany of different colors to match pretty much any Mayfly nymph that you're looking to tie. Now, there is, when you pull them out of the package, there's a rounded side and a flat side. What I like to do is actually pinch it between my thumb and forefingers with the tie down tab facing out and the flat side facing my pointer finger. Because what you're going to want to do is when you tie that in, you're going to want to have that flat side facing downward or facing the shank of the hook. Flat side down, rounded side up. Now you take about 5 or 6 soft wraps, and then I'm coming in with about 5 or 6 heavier wraps, and that's going to basically seat your body, or your body and tails perfectly at this point. Now it's okay if they're not exactly perfect, because we're going to come in with our dubbing next. And when our dubbing butts up against that flat section of the body, it's going to seat itself actually perfectly. So that's about what you want. When you put your dubbing on, it's going to seat itself even better. This is also one of our brand new products. This is Hemingway's UV Ice Dubbing. This is absolutely one of the best dubbings on the market. It's also one of the best ways to store, travel with, and use your dubbings. This is called our our dubbing travel dispenser. And again, it's just an excellent way to use and store your dubbings. It's one of a kind. We are the only company out there that's utilizing this really nice dispenser. Now the UV ice dubbing is one of our brand new dubbings. We are the third largest producer of dubbings in the world. What you're going to see with our dubbings, and in this one in particular, there's a bunch of companies out there that have a UV ice dubbing or an ice dubbing, and the strands are very thick and plasticky, which we don't like on our realistic flies. We want them to be as natural as possible. Even though we're using things like UV and ice, they can still look and feel and be natural. So we use very fine strands on this particular dubbing. I would say double as fine as you'll see anywhere else on the market. Now what I'm going to do is start off with a small noodle. Really less is more at this point on the fly, and we're going to build it fatter as we move forward. And you can just really see the UV and the ice design that's in this dubbing is really, really well done. And we're just going to take that small noodle, again, butt it right up to your bodies and tails there, and you can see it's laying just perfectly. Again, we're going to build a little fatter as we go forward, and that not only matches the natural insect itself, it also is going to match the inside of the way our legs are designed, so they seat themselves perfectly. And what we're trying to achieve here is not necessarily a perfect conical shape. This can kind of have some bubbles in it. It can kind of have some bumps in it. And the reason for that is not because we like tying sloppy flies, but we're going to come in here with a flat pair of pliers and squeeze this dubbing down flat. And the reason for that is, again, it's going to match the natural insects. They have a very flat profile. And it's also going to allow for a really neat natural swimming effect in the water. Basically, when the naturals get moving in the water, they have a wobble to them, and fish really key in on that. It's one of the things that will basically separate a false fly from a natural insect, and fish absolutely key in on those kind of things and will refuse if they don't see the type of realistic motions and realisticness that they want to see. They will refuse to bite your flies, and that's basically what happens. And what we've done is we've done a lot of design and figured a lot of different things out to prevent that from happening. So fish do bite your flies, and ultimately you are successful. That really is the whole goal behind this, and really it's a big goal when you're fishing realistic flies, because you want them to be as realistic as possible. So as you get used to using our products and so forth, you'll see that's really what sets us apart from the rest of the pack is really the design that goes into it, the thought behind everything, and you know, it is a whole lot more than just what you see. Now, basically wrapped your conical shape, little fatter towards the front, skinnier towards the back. This is where we're just going to take our flat pliers, and these are just pliers that you would get at any contracting store, Home Depot or what have you. And what I'm going to do is just take this particular dubbing and squeeze it nice and flat. And what it's going to do is it's going to move gently forward, gently out to the sides, and gently backwards, and it's going to give you that exaggerated conical effect. It's going to match that inside of our legs perfectly, and it's really going to bring out even all the best of the colors and so forth in the dubbing itself. And as you can see there, it's just it's absolutely perfect. as far as getting that particular detail and effect that we're looking for. Now, our next part is going to be our legs. And these are Hemingway's ultra realistic Mayfly Nymph legs in a small black to match the rest of our pattern. And these also have a really great tie down tab on the front of them. And what we're going to do is just take one of them out of the pack here. And these are the same, they're the same on both sides, so you don't have to worry about a flat side or a round side. What you're going to want to do is kind of just line everything up there. I like to do it with my fingers or these small tweezers. And you're just going to take a couple soft wraps right behind the bead, and you can basically adjust forward or backward at this point of exactly where you want everything to go. This particular fly is about perfect right there. Then I can come in and take another 5 or 6 stiffer wraps. Just want to make sure everything's going to match up. It's all pretty much straight. You can still really tune it up and manipulate it at this point. Nothing's set in stone yet. We are going to use a bit of glue on the back of these legs, and that's going to pretty much lock everything in place for us. So that's basically exactly where I want everything. I'm just going to actually pull these legs just a hair bit further back, and because of the silicone based material, they will move just a little bit. I do have them locked pretty well in there, but they will move. Now I'm going to take some Loctite Gel glue. This is Loctite Control Gel, available pretty much any big box store, grocery store, what have you. I'm going to take a dab about that size, and what I'm going to do is flip my legs up, and actually I like using my small tweezers at this point, and I'm going to take that dab and coat the dubbing itself, the top of the dubbing itself. I'm going to try to be careful because you don't really want to get it on the legs. It'll kind of just make everything a little goppy, so you want to keep it away from the legs themselves. And what I do is I just took another dab and I'm just coating the top of that really nicely, so everything's gonna stick very nicely. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna coat the back of these legs just a little bit right at the end with the little bit of extra that I have on my bodkin. You can spread that, and then I like taking my thumb because I can see, and I can also press down, and I can just run my thumbnail right along the top of that inner section of the legs and smooth everything out really nicely. Now you can see I still have my tie down tab on there, and you want to wipe everything off just a little bit because it'll keep your glue nice for you, and you can use that over and over and over again. And basically I'm just killing a minute or two here while the glue sets. I can come in and just pinch and take that tie down tab off. This is just a pair of nail trimmers, cuticle trimmers. Take another 2 or 3 wraps, just make sure everything's tight in there. Really at this point I'm just kind of killing a minute so it can all set and really lock itself in. Now I'm going to take our next material, which is Hemingway's Mayfly Nymph wing buds and abdomen backs. And this is what's going to give you that ultra realistic wing bud back. Now we don't need to use the actual abdomen back because you can see here our abdomens are just free flowing. Our abdomen and tails are free flowing, and that's going to move in the current, it's going to move in the water, it's going to move when the bug is swimming. So what we're going to use is just the front section here, which would be the wing bud portion. And what you actually do is pull those out of the pack. I have some open ones here, and they just peel right off the background, really nice and easy. They too also have a tie down tab on the front of them, One side is self-adhesive, which is absolutely great. You're going to want to take the self-adhesive side and face that down towards the shank of the hook, down towards the actual leg portion that you just put on. And what you want to do is line this up right on top of the legs. And you're going to want to take that tie down tab. You can push it right down with your finger. And I'm saying 5-6 wraps, and you're locked in because of the stickiness of that self-adhesive. Now, what I'm going to do is, just because I like to, and it makes my flies really bulletproof, I'm going to take a little bit of this Loctite Gel again, and this is about half of the dab I had last time, and I'm just going to coat the sticky part of that wing bud section. Now, you don't have to do this because it is self-adhesive, but if you do this, your fly will become basically bulletproof. It will lock those legs down even further in there. It'll lock your abdomen, or your wing buds, and basically your abdomen section, because you'll get a little bleed there of that glue, and it'll just, you give that another minute or so, and you just come in and clip that tie down tab, which is great that this stuff is so easy to work with. And then I'm gonna wipe my glue off, my tools off here, and that's actually really pretty much dry at this point. You're pretty much ready to rib at this point. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my ribbing and pull it straight down and around the point of my hook. Now, making sure that's dry, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to come right behind. You can see there's 3 legs on each side. I'm going to come right behind the most rear leg on my side, and what I'm going to do is, in that wing bud section, I'm just going to make the tiniest, littlest cut. And what that's actually going to do is, when I wrap up with my clear ribbing here, that's going to catch. You don't have to do this now, but you'll get some roll sometimes if you don't pull it tight enough. So what that's going to do is allow me not to have to play with it a lot, especially for the sake of the video, and it's going to catch my ribbing right in there, right behind those the third legs. You have 1, 2, 3 leg sections, just like the natural insect. That's going to trap it right behind those third legs. Now, not catching the point of your hook like I just did, you're going to make sure that's free, and you're going to come in, and this will all work itself out. You're going to come in and wrap behind the second section, and you're going to want to make sure everything's easy. You notice, or everything's even. You notice I use my tweezers just to move that leg out of the way. You want to make sure you don't trap anything. And then right behind the first section, and technically you could go ahead and take it and tie it off at that point, but again, to make my flies super strong, to make them look as real as possible, what I'll do is I'll take it right behind the head section. You'll actually see the 2 eyes that are there. I just take it right behind the actual eyes themselves, and then twice behind the bead. And that absolutely has everything tied and locked in for you. I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 wraps right there. That actually takes my rib, locks that in. I'm going to cut off my excess rib. At this point, you're going to take a whip finisher or a half hitch tool. I choose to use a whip finisher just because it's a little bit neater. Take it 3 or 4 wraps with a whip finisher. Take it, clip it off. You can see there, you have an absolutely dynamite articulated Mayfly Nymph pattern. Now you can choose to cover the top with some UV cure, some just clear, hard as nails. Any type of resin works very well. I do different things depending on particular situations. This one I'll probably do just a little bit of clear resin or some UV cure, and you let that dry and you're absolutely ready to rock and roll. As you can see, that's Hemingway's articulated Mayfly Nymph. The UV dubbing absolutely gives you the great effect. It also makes it look like it's about to hatch, because these insects will build up air in the front of their bodies right when they're about to hatch. Thank you. Please leave us any comments. We are bearskinoutfitters.net. Visit our site for all the products. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.